Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being well-informed. Today, we're taking a deep dive into an incredible stack of sources all about food. Everything from the meals we make at home right through to global dining experiences.
Yeah, and our goal for this deep dive is really to pull out those, truly impactful insights,
Yeah.
helping you master smart eating for real life. We're connecting practical nutrition with the essential communication skills, covering everything from efficient meal planning and budgeting
Right.
to confidently navigating those social food situations and understanding diverse food cultures.
So whether you're a busy professional, maybe a student, or just someone inherently curious about making healthier choices, maybe communicating more clearly, this deep dive is absolutely custom tailored for you. Get ready for some surprising facts and hopefully, well, a few aha moments. Okay, let's unpack this first part then. Many people think the secret weapon of healthy eating is some, I don't know, new fad diet, right? But the sources, they really make it clear. It's actually strategic meal planning.
Absolutely. It really is. When you plan your meals, yes, you save time, money, stress, all that good stuff. But what's truly transformational about it, I think, isn't just those direct savings. It's the cognitive load reduction. It just frees up so much mental energy,
Yeah.
not having to decide what's for dinner every single day.
That's such a good point. I feel that pain.
And surprisingly, it dramatically reduces food waste, which is, well, an often overlooked environmental and financial benefit.
That's a powerful point about freeing up mental space.
Yeah.
Seriously. So, when we talk about strategic meal planning, what are the most impactful techniques? Like, how do they really work in practice?
Well, two absolute game changers are batch cooking and meal prepping.
Mm.
They sound similar, but they're a bit different. Batch cooking means preparing larger quantities of one component, let's say a big pot of soup or chili or maybe a versatile grain like quinoa that you can then use in different meals over several days.
Okay, so cooking one big thing.
Right. Meal prepping, on the other hand, is more about getting ingredients or even whole meals ready in advance. Think chopping all your veggies for the week on Sunday, perhaps, or portioning out breakfast for quick grabs each morning.
Ah, I see. I love that distinction. It does take the pressure off, doesn't it? Can you give us a real life scenario how these might play out to maximize, efficiency and health?
Yeah, sure. Imagine Sunday evening. You make a large vegetable curry. Okay, so that single effort covers your busy Monday and Tuesday lunches, maybe even a quick dinner. Done. Then, for a less hectic Wednesday, you might just quickly grill some salmon with those pre-chopped vegetables you prepared earlier. See? Much faster.
Nice.
And for those moments between meals, having healthy snacks ready to go, like prepped cut up veggies with hummus or hard-boiled eggs already portioned, that makes all the difference. It really takes the decision fatigue out of eating healthy.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting for a lot of people listening, I bet. This idea that eating healthy is inherently expensive. Our sources really suggest the opposite. It doesn't have to be, not if you're smart about it.
Exactly. That's a huge misconception. There are indeed smart ways to save. For instance, buying in bulk. But not just any bulk. Focus on items like oats, beans, lentils, brown rice. These are significantly cheaper per unit and they store well. The trick, of course, is knowing how to properly store them so they don't spoil.
Right, good point. Storage is key.
Another crucial strategy is focusing on seasonal produce. It's not just fresher and tastier, though it usually is, but its abundance makes it naturally less expensive. Simple supply and demand.
Okay, seasonal. Makes sense. And what about things like frozen fruits and vegetables? Are they really a good alternative? People sometimes look down on them.
Oh, absolutely. Don't overlook them at all. They're often picked at peak ripeness and then flash frozen, which actually locks in the nutrients really well. They can be just as nutritious as fresh, often much cheaper, and they provide incredible convenience and longevity. Less waste.
That's fantastic. So convenient, too.
It's all about being a savvy shopper, right? You want to look at the unit price, that's the cost per kilogram or liter, whatever it is, to truly compare value. And keep an eye out for generic brands, store brands, or discounted items. Planning meals around sales helps too.
That's a brilliant practical tip for stretching your budget. And speaking of being savvy, it's not just about what's on sale, is it? It's understanding the crucial information on the packaging itself. Which brings us nicely to decoding food labels.
You're spot on, yeah. In English-speaking countries, food packaging is just, well, it's packed with information. But it can be incredibly confusing if you don't know what you're looking for. The Nutrition Facts panel is your key guide. It shows serving size, calories, nutrients like fat, protein, carbs, fiber, sugar.
The usual suspect.
The usual suspects, exactly. But what's often overlooked and critically important, is that the ingredients list orders ingredients from most to least by weight. So if sugar is one of the first few ingredients, well, you know exactly what you're primarily consuming, don't you?
Right. That's a
Yeah.
big one. And then there's that mysterious percent daily value. What's the biggest misconception people have about that number? Because it always seems a bit vague.
That's a great question because it is often misunderstood. People see it as gospel. The percent daily value tells you how much a nutrient in one serving contributes to a general 2,000 calorie daily diet. It's a benchmark, but it's not tailored to your specific needs, which might be higher or lower depending on, your activity level, age, goal.
So it's a guide, not a strict personal target.
Exactly. That's a crucial distinction for many listeners, I think.
Okay, let's put this into practice. Quick exercise. Imagine a cereal box. It shows a 1 cup, say 40-gram serving, with 150 calories, 4G fiber, and 8G sugar. If you're aiming for a high-fiber breakfast, is this a good choice?
Hmm. Well, with 4G of fiber, that's a decent start, especially when you consider many people really struggle to hit their daily fiber targets. So, okay there. But the real insight here is probably the sugar content, 8 grams. That's not insignificant. That's where you might start thinking this is more of a sometimes food, perhaps.
Right. Context matters.
And if you want truly whole grain, make sure whole grain, like whole wheat or whole oats, is listed as the first ingredient, not just multigrain, which sounds healthy but might not be mostly whole grain. That shows it's the primary component.
Good tip. But wait, okay, there's an even deeper layer of complexity here. Food companies, they love to use marketing language to make products sound healthier than they actually are. It's almost like a linguistic minefield out there.
It absolutely is. You see words like natural, light, multigrain, or even immune boosting splashed everywhere, but they don't always mean what you think they mean. What's fascinating and maybe a bit concerning is how these terms can be misleading because they often lack strict legal definitions.
Like natural.
Yeah, natural often isn't a regulated term, so it can appear on highly processed food sometimes. And multigrain simply means more than one type of grain is used, not necessarily whole grain, which is where you get the real fiber and nutrients.
Right. And it goes further, doesn't it? Like low-fat products that often compensate by just adding more sugar, or
Yeah.
sugar-free items that might just contain artificial sweeteners instead.
Precisely.
Okay.
Or no added sugar products. Think of a fruit juice with no added sugar that's still absolutely packed with natural fruit sugar. It's not sugar-free by any means.
A distinction.
And the whole gluten-free trend doesn't automatically mean healthy. Potato chips are gluten-free, for instance,
Ah, true.
but hardly a health food, are they? The key is always to look past the flashy marketing claims on the front and actually understand the ingredients list and the nutrition facts panel on the back or side.
Okay, so moving on. Here's where it gets truly interesting for our everyday lives, I think. Being able to clearly communicate your dietary needs, especially when you're out and about, whether that's at a restaurant or a social gathering.
Oh, this is absolutely crucial. Particularly if you're living or traveling in an English-speaking country, restaurant staff there are generally trained to take allergies very seriously, which is good. Being able to clearly articulate, I have food allergy to peanuts, or I'm lactose intolerant, or maybe I follow a vegetarian-vegan diet. It's vital for your safety and comfort.
Yeah, you need the right words.
And you should feel empowered to ask directly, you know, does this contain gluten? Or does this contain soy or dairy? Or even, could you possibly recommend a dairy-free option? Don't be shy.
Let's consider a realistic restaurant scenario. Say you have a severe nut allergy. You ask the server about a dish, and they might say something like, okay, let me check with the chef.
Yeah.
Then they come back and say, we can prepare it without nuts, but just so you know, please be aware that our kitchen does handle nuts, so there might be traces.
Exactly. And that highlights the critical importance of that clear communication, but also understanding the reality of kitchens. Cross-contamination is always a possibility, even with the best intentions from the staff. It's about managing expectations and ensuring your safety.
Absolutely.
And part of that is just feeling confident with the language of a restaurant setting. You'll want to know terms like appetizer for your starter, entree, usually for the main course, especially in the US, and what a side dish is.
Basic vocab, yeah.
Understanding the difference between a server, who might be a waiter or waitress, asking for the bill in the UK or the check in the US,
Yeah.
and knowing about the tip or gratuity is essential. And don't forget, making a reservation is often necessary for popular spots.
Right. And when you're ordering smart, don't hesitate to ask questions. Phrases like, could I see the menu, please? Or do you have any vegetarian options? Or vegan? Or gluten-free? Those are standard.
Totally standard.
You can even customize things. Could you make this dish without cheese? Or could I possibly have the dressing on the side? And if you're trying to make a healthier choice, something like, could I substitute the fries for a salad? That's a perfectly acceptable request, isn't it?
Absolutely. Asking I'd use empowers you to make better choices that fit your needs.
Okay, so dining out is fun, but what about those other tricky social eating situations like buffets, parties, family meals? Buffets and cafeterias, for example, they can be pretty overwhelming with choices.
They certainly can be, especially those all-you-can-eat buffets. It's so easy to get carried away. You'll use the serving utensils provided to take your portion, and you might ask for a refill on your drink. And of course, sometimes you'll need to know how to stand politely in a queue or a line.
The cue, yes, a vital skill.
Huh. But for healthy strategies at a buffet, it's really about making deliberate choices. Don't just grab the first thing you see. My advice, take a full lap, survey all the options first, then decide what you actually want.
Good plan. Reconnaissance first.
Exactly. Start with a foundation of vegetables and salads, maybe, to build on fiber. Prioritize grilled, baked, or steamed dishes over the fried or creamy ones, generally speaking. And always watch your portions. It's incredibly easy to overeat with so much variety. Maybe use a smaller plate.
Sure.
Enjoy a small treat if you like, of course, but don't let it completely derail your intentions for the meal.
That's fantastic advice for navigating Temptation Alley, aka the buffet line. Now, what about social gatherings, like potlucks where everyone brings a dish to share, or parties hosted by a host or hostess? As a guest, you might bring a dish to pass. And if the host offers you seconds, you might need to figure out a polite refusal. That can be awkward.
It really can be awkward. This
Yeah.
raises an important question. How do you politely decline food without offending? Especially if you have dietary restrictions or you're just trying to eat mindfully. I remember once being at a potluck, someone offered me this amazing-looking dessert, but I was already so full, and I just sort of froze. Didn't know what to say. Knowing a few polite phrases can really save you. Simple ones like, oh, thank you, but I'm really full, or it looks wonderful, but honestly, I have to pass. If it's an allergy, it's best to be clear but brief. I'm actually allergic to shellfish, so I'll have to skip the shrimp, but thank you.
Okay.
Or you could say something like, I'm trying to eat healthy right now, so maybe I'll just have a small piece later.
Mm.
And here's a super practical tip. If you're the one bringing a dish to a potluck, always label it, especially if it's vegan or gluten-free or contains common allergens like nuts. It's just a really thoughtful gesture for other guests.
That is such a good idea. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. Travel. It's truly one of the best ways to experience new foods and cultures, often stepping way outside your culinary comfort zone.
It's an adventure for sure, but it can be challenging too with dietary needs or even just trying to eat reasonably well while you're away from home. What's fascinating is just the sheer diversity of cuisine, the different styles of cooking you'll encounter, from bustling street food vendors offering some amazing local specialty,
Street food.
right, to maybe more formal restaurants. Having an allergy card that's a written note explaining your allergies in the local language, that can be an absolute lifesaver in some situations. And just knowing how to ask for food to go or as takeaway is always useful.
Definitely. So, beyond the basics, what are some key healthy travel tips for our listeners?
Okay, well, first, embrace local fruits and vegetables.
Hmm.
They're often incredibly fresh and delicious, a great way to stay hydrated and get nutrients too. Be a little cautious of hidden ingredients, maybe in sauces or oils, especially with street food if you have sensitivities. Ask if you can. Always carry some healthy snacks, nuts, seeds, fruit, granola bars, for those times when healthy options just aren't readily available.
Good backup plan.
And critically, drink bottled or filtered water if you're unsure about the tap water safety in the area you're visiting. Don't risk it. Most importantly, perhaps, try to learn a few key phrases in the local language related to your needs. Even just, does this contain peanuts? Or, I am vegetarian. It shows respect, and crucially, it helps ensure your safety.
That makes a lot of sense. So, what does all this mean for how we actually behave at the table? Food etiquette, as our sources highlight, varies wildly around the world. It's quite fascinating.
It really is. And understanding these differences is absolutely vital to feeling comfortable and, importantly, avoiding unintentional misunderstandings or offense. What's perfectly acceptable, even expected, in one culture can be a major faux pas in another. For instance, you mentioned Japan. It's considered polite to slurp your noodles there. It shows you're enjoying the meal.
Right, but do that here and people might look at you funny.
Exactly. Or in parts of India and the Middle East, eating with your right hand is traditional because the left hand is historically considered unclean. And in France, you should keep your hands visible on the table, not resting in your lap, and definitely not elbows on the table. It's a subtle but important detail for formal dining.
Wow, okay. See, I didn't know that one about France.
Precisely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, think about tipping. In the US and UK, tipping is generally expected in restaurants, maybe 15–20% of the bill. It's a significant part of a server's income. But in other countries, tipping might be included in the bill, or not expected at all, or even considered slightly rude.
That's a big one for travelers to get right.
Definitely. Or in China, leaving a little bit of food on your plate can subtly signal that you're satisfied and your host provided more than enough. Whereas in many Western cultures, it's considered polite to finish everything on your plate as a sign of appreciation for the food.
It's complex, and beyond specific customs, just knowing the universal language around the table is helpful, isn't it? We're talking about basic things like utensils, forks, knives, spoons, chopsticks, knowing what a napkin or serviette is, how to give a toast by raising a glass, understanding the roles of host and guest, or knowing you need to RSVP to an invitation.
Yes, those basics go a long way. And here are just a few useful phrases that can make dining interactions smoother everywhere. May I be excused? When you need to leave the table briefly. Could you pass the salt, please? For a polite request across the table, showing appreciation. This is delicious. Thank you so much for cooking. And of course, a simple cheers when making a toast.
Little things that make a big difference. Okay, let's have some fun with language now and really level up your English. Let's talk about some fantastic food-related idioms. These are great.
They really are. They add so much color to your conversations. For example, if you spill the beans, you're revealing a secret, right? If something gives you food for thought, it's something to seriously consider or think about.
I use that one all the time.
Or if you suggest someone take something with a grain of salt, it means you're advising them not to take it too seriously or literally.
Okay, I love those. And here are a few more good ones. If you bite off more than you can chew, you've basically taken on too much responsibility or a task that's too big for you. If you have a lot on your plate, it just means you're very busy, you have many things to deal with.
Very common one.
To sweeten the deal means to make an offer or proposal more attractive, maybe by adding something extra. And if something is a piece of cake, well, it's incredibly easy to do.
Nice. We also have some maybe slightly more advanced social idioms related to food and dining. To wine and dine someone means to entertain them lavishly, usually with good food and drinks, often for business or courtship. To break bread together is a lovely phrase meaning to share a meal, and it often symbolizes friendship or fellowship.
Ooh, I like that one.
If you have a sweet tooth, it simply means you have a strong liking or craving for sweet foods. And to go Dutch means that each person in a group pays for their own share of a bill, like for a meal or drinks.
Right, everyone pays for themselves. So, for example, you might say, wow, I really bit off more than I could chew when I agreed to cook Thanksgiving dinner for 20 people.
Huh. And your friend might reply, yeah, that's definitely food for thought for next year. Or someone might say, I have such a sweet tooth, I can never say no to dessert.
Yeah.
Using these phrases just helps you express yourself more vividly and sound more natural in English conversations.
Totally. Okay, finally, let's get really practical again and maybe summarize some key tips. How can you stay healthy when life gets hectic? Maybe you're eating out frequently. Let's bring it all together.
Yeah, great idea. The key thing to remember, I think, is it's about progress, not perfection. Every little healthy choice you make counts. For general habits, prep ahead whenever you can. Chopping veggies, cooking grains in advance, it's a massive time saver during the week. Always try to pack snacks like nuts, seeds, fruit, or yogurt for busy days so you're not caught out hungry.
The snack attack is real.
It is. Crucially, hydrate. Carry a water bottle everywhere. Make water your default drink. Practice mindful eating when you can. Take time to actually taste and enjoy your food, even if it's just for 10 minutes without distractions. And aim for flexible routines. Don't stress yourself out if you miss a healthy meal or eat something less ideal. Just get back on track at the next meal. No big deal.
That's really important advice. Don't let one slip up derail everything. And specifically when you're eating out, what are those smart strategies again?
Okay, eating out. Check the menu online before you go, if possible. That way you can plan your choices in advance, less pressure in the moment. Maybe start with a salad with dressing on the side or a broth-based soup. Fills you up a bit with fiber. Choose grilled, baked, or steamed dishes more often than fried or creamy ones. Simple swap. Big difference.
Good rules of thumb.
Definitely ask for sauces and dressings on the side so you control the amount you use. Watch your portions. Restaurant servings are often huge. Seriously consider sharing a main dish, or ask to take half home for lunch the next day. And try to limit sugary drinks and alcohol. Choose water, sparkling water, or unsweetened tea instead most of the time.
Excellent summary. Remember, everyone, balance is key, right?
Okay.
And it's absolutely okay to enjoy a treat now and then. It's part of life. Wow, what a deep dive that was. We've really covered a lot. Everything from advanced meal planning and budgeting to decoding tricky food labels and marketing speak, expressing allergies and dietary needs clearly, confidently navigating restaurants, buffets, social gatherings, even handling food while traveling.
Yeah, and we spice it all up with some cultural etiquette tips and those fun food idioms too.
We did.
I think the main takeaway is that food is about so much more than just nutrition. It's really about connection, culture, enjoyment. And with the right language skills and just a little bit of confidence, you can truly enjoy eating well and communicating clearly pretty much anywhere in the world.
That's a great way to put it. So, a final thought for you listening. What stands out to you most about how food connects us globally? And maybe how can you use some of these insights we discussed to make your next meal out or your next social gathering both healthy and culturally enriching?
Keep nourishing your body, yes, but also your mind. And definitely keep nourishing your language skills.
Well said. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, happy healthy eating, everyone.